How good is your boat?
Well, I think our boat could be very good, but until we actually line up against somebody, I have no idea. It seems good on paper. It's kind of living up to the numbers, the design numbers, the velocity prediction numbers. But yeah, until you just kind of go side by side with somebody, and you always pull in things a little tighter when you're racing. You hold on a little longer. You keep sails up a little longer. I wish I could say definitively, but we just don't know.
With a rear the length of yours, you're going to be incredible at reaching, but how are you going to go on the other angles that we're going to see, particularly on the opening night?
Well, I think one of the surprises, I would be shocked if we don't surprise people upwind. I think upwind is could potentially be one of our stronger angles. But there's upwind and then there's too much upwind. Is it too windy? Are the waves too awkward a size to be able to really send it? But, if it were normal upwind, quite honestly, we'd be really comfortable, I think. It's such a stable boat. It has so much, that width gives you a lot of stability. We can press on it pretty hard, and we've been quite surprised at how well it seems to go that way.
As skipper, does it play on your mind somewhat in your approach to this race, given that Comanche is relatively untested?
It absolutely plays on my mind as the skipper that it's untested. It's a little nerve-wracking. All these boats are completely cutting edge, and when it's cutting edge, it's a Formula One race car that blows up its engine on the first lap. It's there's been boats like this that have not had a lot of success from a safety standpoint. So that's why we work really hard at the safety thing. Our whole team, our whole sailing team, we've done it almost daily, different regiments as to safety in certain situations. Of course, you can't plan for everything, but I hope that we're as prepared as we ever could be for anything that might happen.
You've surrounded yourself with experts. No one could ever argue that. What does Jimmy Spithill bring to the boat particularly?
Jimmy's one of our better grinders. I reckon he's the most overqualified grinder in sailing history. And then, oh, by the way, he knows how to drive a boat pretty fast too. And listen, he's a great last addition. You can never have enough good drivers on a boat like this, especially if conditions get tricky. And he was really psyched to do it, and I was really psyched to have him. Jim was really psyched to have him. A lot of times we compete against each other. A guy like Jimmy, he and I have sailed against each other for thousands of times over the years, and you never get to really know the person. He's always the competitor on the water. And I have to admit, it's been really fun getting to know Jimmy, the person. And he's been a wonderful team player, and literally in the pre-start, you're going to see him grinding. So it's he said, "I'll do whatever it takes," and he's lived up to that in a big way.
I think almost all of the Supermaxes have very different ideas of where their race will be won and lost. For you guys, is it that first 24 hours, or is it going to be the final runway off Tassie's coast?
Yeah, I think to us it potentially is the final runway, but I'll give you a little hint. I'm very superstitious about weather, and that's the first weather forecast I actually ever heard this morning. So that's an exclusive. I just don't do it. I don't buy into the hype. We've been getting phone calls for days now. What do you think? The weather's doing this and the weather's doing that. It doesn't matter. First of all, we got to deal with what we got to deal with, and secondly, it's going to change. So listen, we'll deal with it as it comes. Guys like Stan are very smart at this stuff, and when it comes time that we feel very confident in the forecast, Stan and I will sit down and we'll start mapping out a real plan. But until then, I'm sticking to my superstition. I'm not even going to look at a weather map.
And just finally, can you give us another little exclusive? What song is going to be playing when you leave the dock to head to the Starlight?
You got to come down around 10 o'clock to the Woolwich Marina, and you'll hear the song that's going to be played. Chosen by one Christy Hins Clark, and it's quite, I'd say it's quite apropos, don't you think? Yeah.
Will she be joining you?
That's a good question. I think today is D-Day. She's going to have to make her decision. We've told her today's the day. She would have to sit in a couple more safety briefings with us if she comes. But I think today's the day that she's got to make her decision. And I know Stan sent her the weather this morning, and hopefully she and Jim are conferring as we speak. But like Jim said at the press conference, he can't breastfeed. That was a little weird.